So I'm back again. Another day, another voiceover. I didn't really have any ideas going into this one other than I would do this. I think of it as like a double U-shaped mouth, which I did a lot in the past, and then I stopped doing it for a long time. So I thought I'd do one like this again. That's the backstory for this drawing. That's it. And then, like, as I was going, I decided it would be a giant thing in sand. And it kind of ended up looking like just a snake. But it does have limbs. They're just hard to see in the final product drawing art piece. See, look, hand. There it is. I'm not a liar. And I was thinking of making, like, depicting it as the whole, like, the neck opening as well as the mouth, or at least to some extent. Obviously, it wouldn't be able to do it completely because of the jaw being connected as it is. I mean, I guess maybe it still could, but would not be pretty. I do leave that in, like, the final design, but I don't show it as well as I originally wanted to, with like teeth going down the outside of the neck. I just have them inside the mouth and going through the back of the neck in the mouth, not the outside of the neck, if that makes sense. You'll see it when it's closer to being done. Promise. Also doing this, I got to practice a bunch of scales, which every time I do scales, I do them differently. So, like, I really need to figure out what I'm doing with them. Because sometimes I do this, where I do, like, light scales on a darker skin, I guess. And sometimes I'll do darker scales on a light skin, and then sometimes I'll use, like, a scale brush set to multiply, and then I'll transform it to stretch it over the body, making it look like it's actually going with the body rather than being a flat scale brush. Next time I do scales, I'll probably be changing it again. Not because I don't like how this turned out, but just because it happens. I'm already out of stuff to yap about, and it's 3 minutes in. I got nothing. I might just end it here. We'll see. I'll try to stick it out, but there's going to be a lot of dead air. That's for sure. I do just be rambling. A little bit of yapping, a little bit of rambling. I mean, it's the same way I've been rendering, like, everything. That same brush, the same outline, and then base color, and then color/render in the base color without doing the lines, but then merge the lines onto the base color, and then paint on top of that. I'm not very original. I kind of sticking to what I know best most of the time. I also, once again, did not use any reference, but I mean, I'm not sure what I would use other than maybe some random lizard. I'm pretty sure there are lizards that have, well, not heads shaped like this, but like near the eyes shaped like this. I mean, maybe there's a lizard that looks like this. I kinda doubt it, though. At least this exact look. That would just be hard to believe. And yep, the way I colored it was I think it's counter shading. I don't remember what it's actually called, but it's where animals have a darker color on top and like a light colored belly, and it's basically like most animals have that, unless they're like completely white or hairless. or slash scaleless slash featherless. But I did that here just to make it more realistic, because I'm known for doing realistic stuff, am I right? What purpose does it serve? Not sure. I didn't really think about like how actually big this creature is, so I didn't really think about what it ate, or if anything ate it. But its teeth are obviously all the same exact type of tooth. So if it is a carnivore, it's going to be just grinding stuff up rather than chewing it. It's got a bunch of proto teeth. Fool can't even chew his food properly. Probably just grinding it on the teeth inside the throat. Like some weird, gross, I don't know, food processor. And maybe it's like a sandworm from Dune. It just eats smaller versions of it. Who knows? Oh, I should also mention that I added motion blur to the arm and the back of the body, because it's supposed to be moving. Crazy concept, I know. Motion blur did the moving thing. And I also, eventually, add a whole bunch of sand blasting up, as if it's being pushed away by it. And here I'm finally adding the eyeballs. So, with the eyeballs, I just did it the way I normally do irises, which is using one color, and then using that same color with an airbrush on multiply to do the shadowed parts of the eye, and then I eventually, haven't done it yet, use that same color again, but on color dodge, to add in the highlights. And I use the multiply again for the pupil, but I don't use airbrush for that. Well, I do, but I also use a smaller, just hard line brush. And here I'm adding a whole bunch of sand to the background to make it like as if it was kicking up sand behind it too. And then an overlay layer for the light. And after doing this, I felt like it looked way too muddy, or smooth, blurred, however you want to call it. So I tried to fix that. I'm not sure how successful that was, but I tried. And isn't that all that matters? Maybe, probably. I also add the light with the overlay layer in the mouth, just because I thought the skin around the mouth might be thin enough to where light can pass through it. Like, yes, there are scales, but also it's the mouth. So, with it, you know, being hopefully thin enough, like skin-wise, light should pass through or reflect off teeth. Yeah, light in mouth. And that can be true for anywhere. I should say reflecting-wise and thinness-wise, but on this creature there's not really anywhere else that would really be thin enough to allow light to really pass through it very, like, at all, especially with scales. But, like, on the stomach, I added some light, which probably couldn't really get there typically directly from the sun, so it's more so just bouncing off of the ground, its arm scales, and just, you know, being outside. It's a little bright out there. I don't know if you've been out there. This is not, that was a joke. This is not like, this is not a have you seen the sun in weeks joke. That's not what I meant. I'm not insulting you, please. It was a joke, I'm sorry. Anyway, like, that's all that's all I had to say. I'm not good at this talking about stuff thing. It's hard, okay? So anyway, thanks for listening to my yapping and rambling, even though it probably hurts to listen to sometimes. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. Good night, good morning, good evening, whatever time. Goodbye.